Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another episode of the GC Informer. I don't know if you saw Vox's news yesterday, but in it he told you to send Snowy a bunch of stuff about microtransactions. Please do that! He freaking loves it! Anyways, we have quite a few stories to get into, so let's get right into it. First things first is that The Division, believe it or not, is getting a pretty decently sized fall update. It's going to include an entire new section of the world to explore called the West Side Pier, and in it is 2 new zones which hold 2 new game modes. The first is a horde-like mode called Resistance, where you have 4 friends and you guys team up against a horde of enemies. That's it. Exciting, I guess. The other one's a bit more interesting, and it's called Skirmish, and it's basically a 4v4 PvP mode where whoever has the most points, basically the most kills, at the end of a set time wins the match. The update also brings with it Camp Clinton, which is a new social area, and it's also going to optimize some of the equipment in the game and of course have some bug fixes here and there. We don't have a date for the update just yet, but we know it's coming this fall, so look forward to that, those of you who are still playing The Division, or maybe those who want to jump back into it. Guess what, guys? Suda51 is back, and believe it or not, he's making a sequel to No More Heroes. It's going to be called No More Heroes: Travis Strikes Again. And just like all of his other projects, this game sounds pretty interesting. It takes place 7 years after No More Heroes 2, and the game includes a bunch of collaborations with other major indie studios. Now, how cool is that? In fact, one of the studios mentioned is Denaton Games, I believe that's how it's pronounced, the guys that make Hotline Miami. And basically, the plot of the game is that Travis, Touchdown, and Badman, characters from the No More Heroes franchise, are pierced by a game console. It's called the Death Drive MK2, and in this No More Heroes game, they have to beat 6 distinct different games in order to survive. So the No More Heroes game is going to have 6 different games created by different major indie developers alongside Suda51. How fucking cool is that? The game is coming to the Nintendo Switch next year, and this is going to be the 10th anniversary of the No More Heroes franchise. This just sounds wonderful, and I can't wait to hear more about this. All the more reason to be getting a Switch. Speaking of games coming to the Switch, a lot of indie games are heading there with the new content soon. Next month, on September 21st, we're seeing the release of SteamWorld Dig 2. And next year, we're going to be seeing another Super Meat Boy game on the Switch called Super Meat Boy Forever, which is basically going to be the same thing as the first game, just with new mechanics and of course new harder levels. The game is coming to other platforms, but it was shown off on the Nintendo Nindies Direct. Yes, that's a weird name, it kind of makes sense, but that's besides the point. They're getting dope games on the Switch. The final expansion to Shovel Knight was also revealed in this Nindie Direct, and it's going to be called Shovel Knight: The King of Cards. It allows you to play in the armor of King Knight, and it comes with 4 new worlds, 30 new courses, and of course new weapons and abilities. And this time around, a dedicated card game that kind of looks like Gwent or something of the sort. And last but not least, Kentucky Route Zero is coming to the Switch next year as well, with its final chapter. Again, all of these games, with maybe the exception of SteamWorld Dig 2, will be coming to other consoles, but they were revealed in this Nintendo Nindie Direct sort of thing. Again, it's really cool to see Nintendo actually embracing indies this time around, as the Switch is the perfect place to play a lot of these games. You know, you can take them on the train with you, in the car. It's much easier than having to sit down at your computer and all day. I love the idea of playing Super Meat Boy on the go. Of course, let me know what you guys think of that in the comments down below. Sonic can never catch a break, can he? Now, we all know that Sonic Mania is a great game, it's been received very well, and it's a return to roots for the series, which is what we really always wanted. Anyways, it was launched on PC yesterday, and they failed to tell us that it's launching with de novo, which is DRM, meaning that the game cannot be played offline. I hope you can understand why that would piss a lot of people off. Sega says they're looking into the issue. However, it's not really an issue since they obviously did this on purpose. This wasn't an accident. So now they're just reacting to backlash. Even more frustrating is those that pre-ordered on Steam can't do a refund because the pre-order came with a free version of Sonic 1. And since pre-orders went live over 2 weeks ago, and if you've had a game for over 2 weeks, you can't refund it anymore, it's really quite frustrating for a lot of PC Sonic players. Now, again, the game is great, and it's worth trying to deal with this stupid DRM, but hopefully that gets resolved soon anyway, so no one will have to deal with that kind of bullshit. On a weirder side of news, the property The Walking Dead, which I'm sure you've heard of, is getting a Pokemon Go-like ARG mobile game. The game is called The Walking Dead Our World. How ominous, isn't it? And there was a trailer release, but it didn't show any gameplay stills or footage, so we don't know how it's going to play yet. Just interesting to know that it's out there. You may want to keep an eye on that if you like Pokemon Go and zombies. Hopefully this won't turn out to be a piece of shit. And last but not least for today's news, some more Overwatch changes. The highly anticipated deathmatch mode has been brought into the game. There are two forms of deathmatch, regular and then team-oriented, and these take place across a variety of maps, some of which only allow for teams. It's definitely something nice for Overwatch players. New modes in games is always great. There were also some balance changes to some of the characters. Here are some highlights. Junkrat can now hold 2 mines, and his ultimate speeding tire is 30% faster. Widowmaker's grappling hook has went from a 12-second cooldown to an 8-second cooldown, and Roadhog's self-heal skill can now be used while moving, only it just doesn't heal as much this time around. Overwatch. What an interesting, always changing game. Anyways folks, that's about it for today's news. As always, hope you enjoyed, and don't forget to leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Always interested to see what you guys have to say about the news topics. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to stay tuned to GameCast for all of your gaming needs.